Welcome back to another video in our series on how to use AI to generate content for your tour operator business. My name is Peter Fabricius. I work as a digital marketing consultant for CBI. Now, to create good content, we need to start with research and planning. We need to think about who our audience is. Who are we creating content for? What sort of content would they like to see, and what do we hope to achieve if we share content? AI can be very valuable for this. Not only is it capable of processing a lot of information, it can also make some really sound recommendations. To illustrate this, we will use our fictional company that Guido introduced in the first video called Story Safari to show how we can use CBI's market information not only to do market research, but also to develop marketing personas, create unique value propositions for Story Safari, and even create a brand voice. Now, if I look at Story Safari's current website, we can see that they already offer some cultural experiences throughout Africa. But let's say this company really wanted to position themselves in the community-based tourism or CBT market. For that, they would not only need to understand the market well, but also whether it aligns with the company values, the current products, and their resources. To start this process, we will head over to the CBI market information website. If you're not familiar with this, it is packed with a ton of market information, extremely valuable for tour operators, and it even has an infographic where you can get started. So here we will see that we have some broad market segments, and then we can zoom into some niche markets. And in this case, I want to look for the CBT or community-based tourism segment. If I click that, on the left-hand side, you'll see some basic information, but then a clear link to the actual study. And this is where we want to be to do the research for Story Safari. So here we've got two potential studies to read. One is on the market potential of CBT. The other one is about market entry. So that would be advice on how to enter this market as a tour operator. What you will notice is that both these studies take about 30 minutes or more to read. And you can imagine for a small tour operator business like Story Safari, this could be quite resource and time intensive. And that's the first value we will get from ChatGPT. The fact that ChatGPT is capable of processing all this information and then have a conversation with us to highlight valuable and key information that would be relevant to our research. Let's use a very basic prompt to see how this could work. I copied the paste from the CBI's market information, and then I simply asked ChatGPT that based on the report, which countries would have the highest potential for community-based tourism in the current season. And quite instantly, we'll see how ChatGPT is capable of analyzing all that information and using natural language to give me an answer. So rather than having to go through that entire report, you can see how this could already save me time. It's highlighting Germany, the UK and France, the Netherlands, Spain as key markets for this. And then it's referencing a link back to the report showing me where it got the information from. So this is just a starting point, but you can imagine how you can use this technique to delve into this report and get key information in a very short amount of time. In this case, however, we don't only want to use ChatGPT to analyze information in the report, we want to help Story Safari better position themselves to cater for this market. And to do that, we're going to use the role, task, format, context, and goal prompt framework that Guido introduced in the first video. Let's see how that could work. So this prompt looks a little bit wordy, but let's break it down and go through it bit by bit. So firstly, the role. How do we want ChatGPT to act as a marketing consultant in this case? And then the task. Your task is to identify 3 unique selling propositions for our tour operator business. But we're also being quite specific here. We wanted to appeal to European travelers interested in community-based tourism. Then of course the format. So again, how do we want ChatGPT to present this information to us? Provide one short and clear sentence for each USP. We don't want long paragraphs to read through. Then we have to give the context, probably the most important part of this prompt. Where do we want ChatGPT to get this information from? So firstly, we're asking ChatGPT to visit our website. We're pasting the link to Story Safari's website. And then we're also referring to the CBI market report on community-based tourism and pasting that link. And then lastly, what is the goal? Helping ChatGPT understand why are we prompting it in the first place? What are we hoping to achieve from this? Your goal is to create compelling USPs that will attract European travelers and can be used in our marketing efforts. So we're telling ChatGPT that we're hoping to extract some unique selling propositions that Story Safari will be using in their marketing going forward. Now, I copied over this prompt and ran it in our conversation in ChatGPT. Here, ChatGPT clearly acknowledges the fact that it browsed the CBI market study. It's using some understanding from Story Safari's website. And here it's generating quite instantly 3 value propositions as we asked. And these are fairly good. We're talking here about authentic homestay experiences. That was probably from Story Safari's website. And then it's talking about sustainable travel practices and curated by local experts. So it's sort of combining this information that it learned from the website and the market information study to come up with 3 suggested unique value propositions. We can, of course, further prompt, ChatGPT or further refine this, but I am fairly happy with what we have generated here as a start. Through this exercise, we now have a better understanding of how Story Safari's company values and product align with the needs of European travelers who are interested in community-based tourism. And that is a very good start. However, for Story Safari to create content to promote community-based tourism products, they will need an excellent understanding of this market and who the audience is that they will be speaking to. A fantastic way to do this is by creating a marketing persona. If you're not familiar with the term, a marketing persona is essentially a representation of your ideal customer. It's a fantastic way to think about your business or your product from your customer's perspective. So I created a new prompt, essentially asking ChatGPT to develop a marketing persona, and then I'm getting quite specific about the details that I want. So I'm telling ChatGPT that I not only want, sort of demographic information like age or location, but also want things like interests and fears. And specifically, what this market would look for when they choose a tour operator. This is crucial for me to understand. But I'm also giving the instruction to use the same CBI market report, and I'm asking it also to use the unique selling propositions that we already developed. So see how I'm building on the context that we have already created and asking ChatGPT to further explore that with me. You'll see here how ChatGPT is instantly generating this persona for me. So firstly, it starts by bulleting out some key information. Now keep in mind, this comes from CBI's market information. That's why we requested ChatGPT to extract that information so we know that it's validated. And then it continues to actually create this persona. It's giving the persona a name, Anna Miller. It's telling me where she's from, educational background, fears when booking. Everything that we asked for is now packaged into this marketing persona that we can use for our content creation going forward. Now, we could, of course, spend more time on this. Maybe ask additional questions or feed in more information for ChatGPT to analyze. Simply as an example, I was quite interested to know how the marketing persona we created for Anna will align with the unique selling propositions we created earlier. So I simply asked ChatGPT this, tell me how her needs align with my USPs. And here ChatGPT was capable of doing that. So through natural language processing, ChatGPT is able to understand this question, take the context of what we created earlier, and then be able to interpret that for me as an answer. So it's clearly taking my unique selling propositions, and then it's giving me a quick sentence explaining how that unique selling proposition will align to Anna. Let's quickly take stock of where we are in this process. So we started by looking at Story Safari's website. We used that as a foundation and we combined that with information that we found through the CBI market information. We then fed that into ChatGPT with a prompt. Firstly, asking to generate unique value propositions, looking at Story Safari's website, but also referencing the information that ChatGPT found on CBI's website. Through that, we generated these 3 very simple, unique selling propositions fit for the community-based tourism market. And from there, we asked ChatGPT to generate our market persona. In this case, we generated the persona for Anna, our fictional audience that we will be creating content for going forward. Keep in mind that all this information that we're generating will be valuable to us in the following videos, as we're going to generate landing pages, blog articles, social media posts, and even email marketing newsletters for Story Safari. When using ChatGPT or any other AI tool to generate marketing content for your business, it is important to think about your brand voice. By this, I mean the sort of wording and phrases that you use. It's important to give AI very clear instructions on how it should speak to your customers or to your audience on behalf of your business. If you don't get this right, you can very easily get into a situation where you do not sound authentic, or it could even sound painfully generic. To help us prepare for the content we will be creating for Story Safari in the following videos, let's look at how we can use ChatGPT to create a clear brand voice. To do this, we're going to run one final prompt. I'm using the same framework, so I'm asking ChatGPT to act as a brand manager in this case, and the task is to create a tone of voice. I'm being quite specific. I'm asking ChatGPT to make sure that this relates to our marketing persona that we created. And I'm specifically asking for ChatGPT to develop a single core marketing message for Story Safari. And the goal is to have a clear message to use in marketing in Europe. I'm also specifying here to include the USPs that we created earlier and the persona I created for Anna. So I'm making sure that we are building on all the context and work that we have already done in this conversation with ChatGPT. As a final step, I want to see if it's possible to include any additional information, resources, or advice from CBI to make this prompt more useful. In the market information website, there's a study called Outsourcing Content Writing Activities. This was created for tour operators to help them hire freelancers or writers. Now, further down this document, I noticed that there's a section that is called Content Writing in Tourism Examples and Tips. And I would like ChatGPT to reference this document, understand what it is about, and see whether there's anything valuable that it can include when creating the brand voice for Story Safari. So I added an additional note to the prompt that says, use this document as a reference. Now, instantly we'll see that ChatGPT is using all the context we have from before, the unique selling propositions, the marketing persona we created for Anna, and then the new market information that we've shared to create the tone of voice for Story Safari like we asked. It's sharing things like language and style, how we should speak, describing the sort of language. Then it's giving us this clear core marketing message that we asked for, a very simple paragraph. And finally, it's even giving us some very key phrases that we can use in marketing. Now, this is interesting because it's not specifically what we asked for. And this is a good example of how we can see AI might keep writing or suggesting content for us, even if we do not prompt it. Now, in the next videos, when we start creating website content or social media content, we might see how it's important to sometimes set boundaries and parameters for ChatGPT to ensure that it sticks to what we want it to write. It's quite interesting here how you will see ChatGPT is also continuing to write some key marketing messages, coming up with suggestions for key phrases we can use. And these aren't things that we specifically asked for. Now, it could be useful, but could also be confusing. And as we move into creating content in the following videos, we'll see how it could be important to set some parameters and boundaries for AI to understand what we do not want. To help Story Safari create quality content to promote their community-based tourism products, we did not only create USPs for them, we also developed a marketing persona, so help them understand who they are speaking to, and created a clear brand voice to make sure they speak in an authentic and a consistent way. To make things a little bit simpler in the following videos and to avoid having to copy and paste big chunks of text into ChatGPT, I've now brought the results of our conversations into a new document. I pasted the USPs, the marketing persona, as well as the brand voice. I will now also save this as a PDF, and you'll see how we can pull that into our conversations as a resource in the future to make sure that ChatGPT references the context that we have created. Be sure to watch the next video in the series where Guido will use the information we created today to see how we can improve Story Safari's itinerary pages on their website. Thank you for watching.